Like to call the meeting to order. Please silence your cell phones and other electronic devices. The meeting of Meriwether County Board of Commissioners, April 28, 2026 at 6 p.m. Please stand with the invocation given by Commissioner Adam Worthley, followed by the pledge.
Lord, thank you for the opportunity to come together and do the work in the business of Meriwether County. Thank you for the rain that we're receiving, and we ask that you bless this board and the county employees, that we will work together in unison and civility to further improve the lives of the citizens of Meriwether County. We ask you to guide us in every decision that we make, and we glorify and honor you in it. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which sustains one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Like to adopt the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
I'll make a motion to adopt it.
Second.
All in favor? Presentations. Will Desirous, Malden and Jenkins, fiscal year 2025 annual comprehensive financial report.
Good evening, the commissioners, for having me this evening. So my name is Will Derzis. I'm a director with Malden and Jenkins, and here to share a presentation on the county's September 30, 2025 fiscal year end. My presentation will be based off of the auditor's discussion and analysis, which I believe you all have copies. All right, so with that, I'll jump into things. On page 2, page 2, this discloses a graphic depiction, some information on Malden and Jenkins, our governmental practice. Just a graphic for your information, along with the engagement team leaders, which for this year including myself and Meredith Lipson. On page 3, there's some additional information, other services and some other things that Malden and Jenkins does. Page 4, a few things I'll touch on here regarding the audit report. So financial statements are ultimately the responsibility of management. Our responsibility as the external auditor is to express an opinion as to whether or not the statements fairly present and provide reasonable assurance rather than absolute assurance. And I'm pleased to share, in our opinion, we did issue an unmodified report, which is a clean opinion. Again, just means that the statements present fairly the operations and state of things as of September 30, 2025. On page 5, a few items under the overview of financial statements. So at the government-wide level, which is the fully consolidated full accrual presentation of the county's funds, just a few highlights I'll touch on. I won't get into the weeds or anything, but total assets of the county are approximately $46 million, offset by liabilities of approximately $5.8 million, and that results in equity net position, or you can think of it as equity at the end of the year, approximately $40 million. A substantial amount of that is comprised of the county's net investment in capital assets. So all the roads, land, building infrastructure, other capital assets that are encumbered, and any amounts that are financing those assets, bonds, notes, outstanding payables. That totals about $18 million. Then there is restricted resources imposed by external creditors, legal means, grant agencies. That amounts approximately $5 million. And then the end result is what's left is considered unrestricted, generally available for use, net position of approximately $17 million. At the bottom of page 5, the statement of activities, that's just the income statement at the full accrual government-wide level. And that shows that there was a positive or net income of about $2.9 million for the year ended. On page 6, there's a graphic depiction on the general fund. That's the primary operating fund of the county. No surprise, taxes comprise about 70% or so of total revenues of the year, followed by charges for service and intergovernmental revenues And then there's a bit of a drop off, and it's kind of falling rounded out by licenses and permits, contributions, interest, fines and forfeitures, and other miscellaneous revenues. Total revenues of the general fund were about 23 million, and that's an increase of about 2 million from the prior year. Page 7, a graphic depiction of the expenditures of the general fund, and public safety, general government, and public works round out the top 3 categories of expenditures. So along with the revenue increase, expenditures also increased within the general fund this year to about 20, or from about 17 million up to about 20 million. Fund balance, which is, again, is the equity of the general fund, not all the funds at the government-wide level, but just that fund, is about 16 million. That's an increase of about 1.7 million from prior year. And again, certain amounts of that are restricted, non-spendable, but about 86% is considered unassigned and available for use at the end of the year. On page 8, you can read up on some footnotes that accompany the statements. They provide a little bit more of a narrative behind the schedules. On page 10, this discloses there's one compliance report that accompanies the statements this year. That's the Yellow Book report, which is required for all governments and issued under government auditing standards. Some other required communications on page 10 and page 11 for me to communicate to you all charged with governance. We encountered no significant difficulties with management over the course of the audit. We had no disagreements. At the end of our audit, we request certain written representations from management. We received those with no issue. There was one emphasis of matter within our opinion this year, and that relates to a new accounting standard issued under GASB that was applicable. There were no other, there were some audit adjustments proposed and posted to the county's general ledger. We're on page 12, and we did have one. There was one past adjustment related to an uncorrected misstatement that would have altered the beginning net position. It would have changed prior year statements, but it was deemed not material enough to do so, and so it was corrected during the current year. And then lastly, we at Malden Jenkins, we're independent of the county in all related respects, which is orange to have an effect on it. On page 13, we do have 3 findings that were reported this year. One of them is a repeat from the past, and concerning segregation of duties across within Water and Sewage Authority, the IDA Industrial Development Authority, and then several of the elected officials departments. So not directly under finance, but across the within kind of the umbrella of the county as a whole. The details there, when we review journal entries within the IDA, within the Water and Sewer Authority, we know there's not, due to a function of small staffing, we don't see an independent review and approval for all those journal entries. Within magistrate and probate court, we don't see an independent review of all the bank reconciliations. And so again, I think these are typically just have been a function of small staffing size and just not enough members, not enough staff on hand to implement effective controls. A second finding this year related to capital and right to use, but capital asset completeness. So it was determined there was some land that had not been reported dating back many years ago, but some of it was sold this year, and so we had to determine what historical acquisition value would have been for that land and report it on the county's capital asset ledger. And then during our review for completeness for newly added capital assets, we picked up our testing discovered a couple additional adjustments were required this year. And then lastly, the other finding related to tipping fees or operating revenues recorded within the Water and Sewerage Fund on page 15. And so that just was a year-end entry had been omitted that was needed in order to record the fourth quarter for the water and sewerage operations. There are also some recommendations for management, referred to as management points. These don't rise to severity of a finding of a material weakness or significant deficiency. One relates to a recommendation for probate court to make timely deposits and not hold cash on hand for any longer than is necessary. One relates to, or a second relates to the sheriff drug forfeiture fund, a fund that has to be reported under the county, but there's no budget adopted for that particular fund. One relates to review of expenditures for the Industrial Development Authority. And then on page 16, lastly, one related just to a reclassification entry required within the airport authority this year for its capital asset. But on that note, that pretty much concludes my presentation. Page 16 discloses just some other matters, some final thoughts, some new and upcoming GASB pronouncements. They keep all of us very busy, and always new standards either coming into effect this year or down the pipeline in a few years. And then in the back of the ADA, just some additional services that we offer, governmental advisory services for enhancing operations, day-to-day, that type of thing, as well as IT cybersecurity services that we also offer. So, but with that said, I'm happy to discuss any questions, comments anyone might have.
Do recommendations, do they require corrective action submission and by a certain date or anything with?
No, that would just be for.
That's just recommendation.
findings. Right, the recommendations are just recommendations for improvement ultimately.
Any other questions?
I'm good, sir.
Thank you, William.
Thank you.
Financial reports given by Ms. Tammy Lackey.
Yes, sir. Commissioners, on the first page are the bank balances as of this morning. We have also received the tipping fees from Waste Management for the first quarter of 2026. And those have been updated on the sheet. We should receive the lost, and T-SPLOST distributions at the end of this week. And I've also given you a copy of the credit card statement. We have received the new credit cards from Colony, and we will be transitioning to the new cards. On the second page, the SPLOST balance is $97,962.72, and the T-SPLOST balance is $825,989.39. And that's all.
Thank you. Any questions? Department heads.
Don't think we have anyone here to speak, Mr. Chairman, but I would like to introduce Jeff Fisher as the new Deputy County Administrator. He joined us last Monday and he is transitioning into that role.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard.
Glad to have you.
Citizen comments.
I have one citizen comment, but I don't think that she is here, Ms. Tammy Howe.
Do not see her in attendance.
Minutes, approval of the minutes of April 13th, 2026, work session at 4:30 p.m. Everybody had a chance to read them, look over them?
Approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Minutes, April 13th, 2026, regular meeting, 6 p.m.
If there's no changes, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
All in favor? Public hearing. Appointment to the Lake Meriwether Advisory Board, City of Woodbury. Appointment, this is 1-year term. It was filed January 28, 2027. It was tabled at the April 13th meeting. And I think we have a.
We do. The city of Woodbury did send us a letter confirming that they have appointed Mayor Dustin Hawkins to the Lake Meriwether Board for their appointment. I just need the board to confirm that.
That need to be put in a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Mayor Dustin Hawkins to the Lake Meriwether Advisory Board. Second. All in favor? Finished business discussion of property taxes, tabled at April 13th, 2026 regular meeting.
Commissioners, this item was tabled at the April 13th meeting to allow Commissioner Thurgill to ask any additional questions. This matter has since been researched and discussed with the chief tax appraiser and the tax commissioner. Currently, tax bills are issued in October and taxpayers may begin making payments as soon as they receive their bill. A statement can be included on the billing notice to clearly communicate this information. Tax bills are issued in October and taxpayers already had the option to make payments prior to December 20th deadline. This timeline is determined by the county's fiscal year, which ends September 30th, and the requirement that the tax digest be submitted by September 1. Taxes cannot be calculated until the millage rate is set and the digest has been approved by the Georgia Department of Revenue. Chief Appraiser William Harris III and Tax Commissioner Dean Cruz both should be on Zoom if you have any questions for them.
And I don't have any additional questions. It was brought to me at a public meeting that people would prefer to have it broken up into two payments per year, that some other areas have done it. We have multiple people throughout the county that own multiple properties, and when you pay that at one time, especially right before Christmas, it does put a burden on them. So that's why I brought it forward. There's a lot of things to look into. It would cost about around $30,000 per year now to mail this out, so it would be double that amount. Then you have the assessments going out that would have to be done, corrected. I don't think we can probably do it this year, but between now and next year, I would like to look into the possibilities of what we can do to get the taxes to not be paid in full or due in full around Christmas time, just to help the citizens out.
Yes, sir. We can look into that.
All right, approval of digital law library contracts, probate court.
Commissioners, I request that this be either tabled or completely removed from the agenda. Judge Palmer is meeting with Judge Resnick regarding law library until we get another request. I just ask that this be tabled or removed from the agenda.
I make a motion to remove from the agenda until we get approval or notice from Superior Court.
Second.
All in favor? New business request for funding from the city of Manchester for their 4th of July celebration. Manchester Fire Chief Ben Williams.
Commissioners, Manchester Fire Chief Ben Williams is present to request funding for the Manchester 4th of July celebration.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to speak this afternoon on behalf of our mayor, city council, and city manager Mark Williams. This year's 4th of July fireworks celebration will be in Manchester at the Mill as usual on Thursday, July 2nd, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. It is the 250th anniversary of our great country, so we're expecting a larger than normal turnout. Last year we estimated between 4,000 to 5,000 in attendance. This year we expect some more. The city has already invested right at 20,000 in fireworks. The price of fireworks went up this year. Doing some research through a city clerk. In the past, Meriwether County has donated 10,000 on several years. Last year it decreased to 1,000 to help us put on this event. Right now we have 20 plus vendors that is going to be there. Also, we're asking for different businesses to donate to help us offset the cost of this. And we're just asking Meriwether County to help us offset some of the costs. Open for questions.
And you said they've already allotted 20,000 for it?
Yeah, we've already hit the pay for the fireworks. Half of the fireworks signed the contract. Half of it was due by a certain date, and we'll pay the other half at the conclusion of the event.
What did our fireworks cost last year?
20 or 25,000?
20,
20,000.
somewhere in that range, no more than 25.
I think last year we paid about 17,500 for the fireworks. Using the same company also.
But they doubled the price to around 40 this year on you?
No, they were 20.
Okay, I thought you said you came up with 20,000, that was half.
No, we have to pay half of the
So
20,000
you paid 10.
uptime. 10's already been paid, and we owe 10 more.
They went up 2,500.
Went up 2,500.
I'm all for donating. I do think we probably need to have a discussion as to what we can do, and then get back. When is the deadline for you all to have everything in being?
We're probably hoping by the mid-June.
Okay.
That's what we're telling business that are donating.
All right. Give us a little bit of time to discuss it amongst them, and we'll see what we can do.
And you say y'all have raised sponsors already?
I put out hand delivered letters to different businesses, individuals in the community as big supporters of the city, and businesses support us too, for donations also.
Yeah, because I think that's what we've done for the last 2 years. It hasn't cost the taxpayer a dime. We've got sponsored and raised every bit of it for the year before and last year. And our intentions this year are not spending tax dollars money on our fireworks either, to raise the money with sponsors. So.
Do we need to table this?
Yeah, I just make a motion to table until the next meeting,
Like 26.
May 26th meeting.
That's a motion.
It is.
I'll second. All in favor?
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Consideration and approval of moving the fire administration offices to 756 Woodbury Highway, Building 8.
Commissioner, staff has begun assessing vacant county buildings and developing scopes of works for bidding. One building identified for immediate use is Building A at 756 Woodbury Highway, which could accommodate fire department EMS administrative offices. Relocating these offices would improve public access for fire EMS reports and consolidate administrative staff into one location. Building A requires minimal modifications, including installing an exterior door in place of an existing window and painting the interior. The flooring is in good condition. Most of the work can be completed in-house by maintenance staff, firefighters, and inmate labor. The primary identified cost at this time is the exterior door and paint material and supplies, which can be funded through the general fund. Fire Chief Stevens is requesting approval to begin preparations, including painting and the door installation to allow administrative staff to occupy Building A. Also like to note that we're evaluating Building C and developing a scope of work to bid for bidding. Additionally, a scope of work is being prepared to assess the repair costs for the former tax building located in the square. And Chief Stevens is here if you have any questions about his request to move into Building A.
How much would it cost and how much work's got to be done to get the building ready?
For Building A, we just have to price out the door for the window. Is very good condition inside. It just needs to be painted.
Currently use the main entrance for the elections building, where they come in, they just make a left. I think the request was by Commissioner Threadgill to put actual exterior doors go into Building A right to the left of their main entrance when we go in. That's pretty much it. I mean, we would move, maybe some small IT stuff with extending what is over at the building now for coverage in our offices to access internet, but that's pretty much it.
So would there be any emergent vehicles at this facility?
Occasionally, they'll have classes or something up there and they'll come around, and I actually talked with Patty and them yesterday, just to make sure, it's like, hey, because we got a class going on right now. And it's got some outside agencies and stuff involved. And I said, hey, where do you want us to park where we're out of the way? And she said, just park around back, it's fine with us. So we've been able to work with that. So the occasional class or something in that back big room of Building A.
What I was thinking is if there's a call and you have to take for the call, coming around from behind that building is not that great of an area with those big vehicles if they're at a higher speed.
We've dealt with that, in the prior class because we didn't have heat over at the school where we were doing the class, so we had to do the fire recruit class over there and that type of stuff. So, it's just a matter of being careful going around the building, and they usually don't activate lights and stuff like that till they get down to the highway anyway. So, but we were able to navigate that on and, just go around. Thankfully, somebody had the forethought to pave on the side of it, years ago. No, that we accessed it a lot when the pathways was there and that inpatient center was back there. We went back there a lot with EMS transfers and things like that. So I don't really foresee that being a huge issue, so.
As much as this fire station right down here costs, I haven't been in it, I stopped there, but I haven't been there. But they didn't build that to where there's room there to do what you're wanting to do, where,
They're done. They didn't.
It was supposed to be done like that, wasn't it?
It's supposed to be
Or-
an administrative building, but there's not anywhere near the room in that station.
or could we not use, since all the stations aren't being manned until we get enough labor force up where they're all fully manned like we promises says it's gonna be, could we not use one of those buildings? That way it's being used and that way there's somebody always there. And
we're currently in a building. We just felt like getting everybody under one roof and the one building at 756 Woodbury Road would be, be optimal for us. But I mean, I've got a training chief over because he's got classroom space. And that's something that I don't have even in the news stations. There's just a small living quarters. I could turn a bedroom into an office and have two people there, but I've got that already over on Hillhaven Road, so I mean, we're being the center of the county versus being outside, down in Durham or something like that. We're in the center. And that's what we do. We respond from there. During the daytime, we respond from there and go to structure fires or cardiac arrest or whatever. And I just think it's optimal to be located in the center of the county with those individuals. But, I guess there's a lot of options on the table.
But Hillhaven's not a station, is it?
It has a compliance number and I have a truck out there, but that's mainly the maintenance shop.
Yeah.
I got a response, it's an old response truck and a tanker there. For either Chief Garrett or myself to drive if we have a structure fire or something, so.
So we have a work session set up for May the 11th for exactly this type of conversation. Can we table this to there and then give you guys the time to, get us some information that we'll need? What staff is moving to there? What kind of infrastructure you're going to need, a timeline to complete that, what kind of costs we're going to have, and maybe we can expedite some things, maybe we can't, but I mean, that's already set up to exactly what this conversation is for.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
I mean, we can get some more information built up for that meeting and make it go quicker.
Set up for LRA.
No,
We can add this.
additional surplus, yeah, we just add,
I mean,
it's a work session.
so we got, because it's a work session with the additional funding exclude,
Gotcha.
different from the LRA, so different, next project list we were gonna attack, and if this needs to be one, then we need more information than what we got right now.
So between that time, I'd walk through with John, come up with a plan as to what you see for the inside. And have that.
Other than housekeeping, I mean, we're, like I said, we're doing that class now, and just intermittently, I'll call and say, hey, can we use that classroom? Yes, other than mopping the floors and stuff, it's ready to go, other than some plugging in for the internet.
Yeah, but we're elevating the status level of Meriwether County image and everything in it, so we want to walk it and see if we're going to move and set up and spend taxpayer money on it, what do we got to do to make it state of the art and the finest fire building that we can, instead of just making do with something. I think that's your point, is it?
Well, no, just a layout of what you had in mind and where everybody could be, what it would look like fully, because when we did it before, and the reason I suggested the exterior door, it was a different entity of the government that we were looking at going there. So it would have been more convenient to take out that and have your own entry to the lobby, because I do think that the election board has a buzz in, buzz out door coming in there. So it would be more convenient to have your own access and people be able to come in there. But we do have to figure out what we're going to do with all our buildings and not just let them sit there. So we may have to spend a little money and fix them, but we don't need to let buildings sit there for a long period of time. You have water issues, electrical issues, all kind of issues. So if you can do that, bring it back for the work session for us to talk about, try to figure out how much it may cost, if anything, to complete it. And we'll have that information.
And what is the plan with the facilities you're using today? So not now, but at that time. So if we're going to move staff, is that going to empty up a facility? What's our plan for that? Do we own it? Do we lease it? What needs to be done to it? Do we, all in that discussion? would we sell it? You know, there's a lot of questions that pop up with that and what we need to be doing.
And I'm not sure how many square feet y'all need or how many square feet that building is. I remember we all walked a couple of years ago, went through it.
About 4,500, I think.
And we've had a lot of discussion of what we're going to do with that building, what we're going to put there. So I think that'd be good in the work session too, is to make sure we're not fixing to move y'all there and then realize, wait a minute, we really need to do this over here, there instead. And now we're trying to move you back out because we've talked about it for 2 years, what we're going to do with that building and what we're going to put in there. And I think one of the bigger issues is we got to focus on the place for the corner and upgrade all that too, and where that's going to be located at and how that's going to be done. So I think the work session might help us all.
How long have you been at the current building out there?
When I first come here, we were in a 911 center. And it had limited access to us the same way. It's just fortified because everybody can't just walk into your communications center. So it's always a buzz in, buzz out. Where I'm at now, I've probably been there maybe 2 years, and all we done was moved into those offices and put to the internet, and just made them an office. They were administrative offices probably 25 years ago, maybe. And they were just added to back then. When I first come here and went to fire school, that's where my school was. But since then, they've added 2 offices in there between that time and the time now. And it's cut down so it can't be utilized as a classroom because there's just not enough room in there. So, that it's kind of gotten cut up over at Hillhaven. So I've probably been over there about 2 years now.
Now, the location, you're talking about the Hillhaven or at that the school board has, that's building, which one are you
Now,
at?
I'm at both. We got logistics and training at the school board because we don't have room for them at Hillhaven. But my office and operations office is at Hillhaven. An administrative assistant, she's over there at Hillhaven. So that's where we tell people to come get, reports or any corresponding information from an incident. That's kind of our storefront, I guess, and that's what we're looking at with the 756 is we'll have enough office space to move the training out of the school, move the training over to 756, move the administrative office such as Chief Price, myself, and administrative assistant, move all that up there. I don't know in that building if there's going to be enough square footage for the supplies and logistics. Because we have fire supplies and EMS supplies, and we occupy 2 rooms at the school.
How about the extension to the back of that side? There's a cement block.
I think Alexis has some stuff in there.
Yeah.
Right now.
That would probably be big enough for what you need for both of those.
It would help,
Yeah.
yes. To add that square footage to it.
Yeah.
Well, is there enough room at where logistics is now to put the offices in?
No. You talking about over at the school?
Yeah.
No, sir. There's not. And right now we're dealing with it. We had no heat in winter. We got no AC right now. So, we're at the mercy of the school board when we're waiting on them to repair that. So we're just kind of trudging through it right now. Whereas that's why we've had to move. I'm glad it ain't July. I'm glad we're in April instead of July. So.
Well, look, I'll say this and then y'all can do whatever, but anytime you can have all of your staff in an administration building, you have a more fine-tuned system. There's accountability, there's eyes on, and people do what they're supposed to do. I'm not saying that nobody doesn't, but it's a much better ran machine.
We use dry erase board a lot, and we just say, hey, this is what we got, we write this down, go over here, write this down, look at what we got, see where this needs to go and this, so it is a benefit to have everybody in one location.
So is your plan for Hillhaven for that to be just a shop and that way there's more room for when they're working on stuff?
I had spoke with the corner with that end and possibly utilizing that at some point, but I don't know if that's for him to determine if there's even enough room there. I don't because it does have, I think we spoke at the last commissioners meeting, it does already, Hillhaven has a backup power generator, for that station. It was installed years and years ago, so that may be beneficial to him. It may not. I don't know, but there's a lot of options. There's a lot of options.
I'll make a motion with table this until the May 11th work session at 4 p.m.
I'll second.
All in favor? Discussion and approval of chassis purchase and ambulance box remount.
Commissioners, Fire Chief Stevens is requesting consideration for approval to purchase a new chassis for remounting an ambulance box. The estimated timeline for completion is approximately 15 to 18 months. Funding can be provided through SPOS by allocating a portion of monthly proceeds over the next 15 to 18 months. The quote for John Meagle for the chassis came in at $66,300. I just got that from Chief Stevens, I think yesterday or this morning. And then the remount from Custom Truck and Body Works is $127,837 for a grand total of $194,137. And this will be the fourth one that we remount, I
Yes,
believe.
yes. One of the first ones that's in cycle, I'm approaching 100,000 on it now. One of the red ones that we remounted, so this will replace that truck, and then we'll move that truck to Gage. It'll go to that Gage station at Station 6, that higher mileage vehicle.
How many active ambulances will this give you now?
The 4 front lines, it'll give me the 4th front line. Right now, Station 6 is in like a spare or reserve, we call it. That'll give me, goal is to have 7. That'll be 7 total, with 4 of those having high mileage on them. So, and the plan is those with the high mileage is gradually replace them and just keep cycling them, cycling them around to the highest mileage of our spares or our backups. And the reason being with that, the 3 spares is we have to bring up ambulances for special events and things like that. And with that, it's the football games. And with that, we got 3 high schools in the county. So those 3 backup trucks are used to, to go to those games and stuff on those Friday nights. Sometimes they hit all 3 of them on the same night.
So your goal is to have 7 to service the county properly.
That's
This will be number 7. We've got 3 with high mileage.
Yep.
Then
So
we
we'll
will
probably
be-
come and request to replace one of those at some point and rotate one of those lower mileage vehicles into the.
So we need to plan over the next 2 years to get 3 more new ones and have those 3.
I
high
think we
mileage.
can continue to do one like we're doing, y'all done, I think it's a total.
We
of
did
4.
2 the first time, then we did 1 last year.
Yeah,
and
and then we're doing 1 now. I think we can manage if we continue to, down that same path.
Just do 1 a year.
Yeah,
But you can only remount those boxes so many
yeah, at
times.
some point we gotta look at a complete truck,
Right.
a complete.
You remount
box.
them, what, like 3 times or something?
Yeah, I think they want to remount it too, so that gives it 3 service chassis. So it goes on the new chassis, then you remount it twice.
Yeah, you get to the 3rd, if you do it a 3rd remount, you got seal issues and leakage issues and.
Well, and you think too, if you got a box, at that point, that box is probably gonna be 20 to 30 years old. So I mean, if you can get a 10-year service life out of it, remount it 3 times. Yeah, we know what vehicles look like after 30 years.
What's the price of a brand new one if we ordered one roughly?
I don't have the exact on that. I would say probably $350 to $400
For a
for
full new
complete.
ambulance?
That is with the chassis, the box, a custom built box, everything. So.
Well, we've talked about it in the past. I think we need to figure out a way to put on a rotation, annual basis, maybe purchase a brand new ambulance every year. And then as we come up and need a chassis, we can remount one. It's a lot easier to do that and have a brand new one there for service that's under warranty than it is to keep doing these that aren't.
Yeah, maybe get in a cycle of a new one every year, and maybe a remount every other year or something, so you get a cycle where you get 2 trucks in that 1 year, so.
Yep.
And just try to keep 7 in rotation.
In the class that I was in this weekend, there was a lady that she actually does transportation like with the school board. But she was talking about there's a site that you can go to with the state procurement where they can piggyback off some of the counties that are buying them. Have we looked into seeing, like, she is a very small county, but she can order the same time like Clayton County does, and it cuts their price. I mean, it's a fraction of what they would have paid because she's just needing 1 of something and they're ordering 10 of it. Do you want me to check into
I
that?
haven't looked into that, but I have communicated with Harris County when they purchased that last brand new one we got in a cycle with them and went through, I think they built 4 of those trucks instead of 3 of them, because we got a new one there,
Right.
but As far as, I wasn't familiar with the website, but yeah.
I can try to find out, but she said, I mean, they do that all the time for school buses. And I figured if school buses are doing it, then I'm sure fire trucks and ambulances are doing the same thing, but it's with the state, all the counties.
We just need to be ready to go when we know either
That's
they're
what she
getting
told us.
4 and we're getting 2, you know.
Yep.
We gotta be ready to make that decision and say, hey, look, we can get on this, but we gotta have these, you know, so.
I know
It
she
still
said
takes a
like,
while
it's
to-
her order and it still takes like a year and a half to
Yes.
get it. You just join in. So when they say all of them are ready, you're
There
ready
you
to
go.
pick it up just like you would have been.
Yeah, I mean, if they, I don't mind.
So
hearing
how many miles do you put on the ambulance in a year?
Let's see. I'd say about 90,000. Roughly. You know,
Where's the
90 to
cutoff at?
110.
Where you saying I can't use it
I
anymore?
mean, about 250 to 300, we want to start trying to, you know, so you're looking at 2-year service life out of a chassis pretty much. I mean, we got some that's got 400, but they've had, you know, substantial work done to them and things like that, you know, and once you get up in that 400 range and, you know, with our rural roads and things like that, I start worrying about chassis and leaf springs and just the normal wear and tear on the vehicle. That's why the van chassis won't fit us well, is because of some of our roads. You know, I mean, a front wheel drive van would not last us a year probably, just because of the lighter duty suspension and all that type stuff related to it. We need a heavy duty truck chassis to make it last.
Those vans would work for functions because
They
it's
could.
usually not on the roughest area and you could house those there. Be a lot cheaper to keep those in place for those types of things, and their road, they do fine on the road. So if you had to transport somebody in, it would be okay.
And if I, you know, if I had those in the cycle, I guess it would be easier. But if we're cycling out high mileage, we can baby these 3 that are over here till we get down and cycle the rest, you know what I'm saying? And just keep it in that cycle. So having 2 completely different styles, I think in the fleet would really be an advantage.
Yeah, but then if you get, if you got one in vans for transport and nothing's available and they can make a call and that van's gotta be used and it may go on the road that.
Yeah, you just
You
don't
don't
ever
put it
really
in.
know, because if we got a truck down for service, say AC goes out, I really gotta pull one of those 3 to put in that place temporarily till that we get that AC. And I'm saying AC, that's gonna be a multiple day repair more than likely. It's not, you know, not like an oil change or something like that. We run those through and get the oil change like we're supposed to on those. And it takes 20-30 minutes to do the oil change, but a severe repair, whether it's AC in the box or AC in the cab or, you know, whatever the situation may be, then that's when we got an axle or something leaking or something like that. That's when it's down for multiple days and we have to pull that spare truck and put it in that place.
So John, you're suggesting purchasing the chassis from current SPLOST and then the remount through the general fund to be replaced by SPLOST funds?
It'd be SPLOST because the chassis, we're looking at probably a 4 to 6 month lead time. And then your remount's going to be about a 12 to 15 month lead time. So
So by then, all
all the
SPLOST
funds will be there. So we can allocate
Okay.
10,000 out of a SPLOST and just put in the LGIP to gain the interest and earmark it for this project if approved by the board. It does says an RFP issue for the remount, but I don't think we did an RFP for the last remount because we only have
These
2,
were the
we had 2
exact same,
vendors.
I sent out the last remount and I only got 1 response and it was from Custom. And then, the chassis was the cheapest from this dealership.
And the dealership's on state procurement.
And we can go ahead and earmark some SPLOST funds to be earning interest
Correct.
while we're waiting on this to come through.
Yes.
Okay.
I think Commissioner King's got a question.
Yeah, if we did order a new one, do they make you pay for it all up front or deposit?
They don't make you pay for it when you get it.
But then and it takes a year and a half to get one.
Mhm.
So we should be ordering one right now. Because
I'm all
we're
for
talking
it.
about doing it in the future. So we're gonna wait the next year, go, okay, we're gonna do it, and then wait another year and a half. If we don't take it, somebody be glad to take it. So I don't know what this board wants to do, but it sounds like to me, we need to have one
So
inside.
we have to issue the PO, you know, the purchase order saying that we want that truck.
Right.
We bring it before y'all vote on it, and then we issue the PO for it.
I mean, everywhere I've called and talked before, the other counties, you're right, fire trucks, ambulance, they're all a year and a half, some of them 2 years out. So if we're gonna anticipate getting one, I don't know if it has to be on the agenda or what the board wants to do, but I'm fine with.
I'll bring you a chassis back to the next meeting if you want to.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this, it's not the first time we discussed it. It's been discussed every single
That's what I'm
year.
saying.
And now it's just coming
Well,
up.
I mean,
so-
it's 15 to 18 months to get this remount.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying,
So
but
we
like
don't, we don't.
Brian was saying, he goes, we ought to start
Everybody at
getting
the same
focused
time.
on getting a new one coming in, so.
Well, I work on that too. I'll get some proposals together for
I
you.
mean, I think we need to get a new one, like, in my opinion, say at least every 2 or 3 years, add a new one in there along with the remount, because you're gonna run out of remount if you don't buy a new one.
It's another item to add to May 11th work session.
So now on a new one, I thought speaking out of turn, I apologize, but on a new one, we do need to put it out for bid.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah, so we can at least start the process, put it out the bid, tell them to take 2 years to get it ready. Then we'll be ready.
So by May the 11th, you can have some information
Oh,
for us.
yeah, definitely, yeah.
So on this item, I'll make a motion, to approve what staff recommends to proceed with ordering chassis, issue an RFP for remount funds from final splost.
Second.
Go ahead.
Second, all in favor?
Thank you.
Discussion of fiscal year 2025 financial audit reports, fund balance.
Commissioners, this item is for discussion of the annual comprehensive financial report, also known as the ACFR, specifically regarding the fund balance and identify surplus amount of the $1,829,483. This figure is based on the audit report, and that's your annual financial report booklet. It's the thicker one that you have. It's also on our website so the public can follow along with what I'm reading. This is based off of government funds that end on September 30th, 2025 is found on page 12 of the PDF labeled page 6 of the audit report and continues through the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance, governmental funds on page 13 of the PDF, page 7 of the audit report. And the way it was calculated on page 7 of the book, you see that we have an increased fund balance of $1,658,266, bringing the total fund balance, which is back on page 6, because you're working backwards. So page 6, where you got unassigned deficit to 13,866,144 is unassigned. The 16,074,703 is the total fund balance, and that includes restricted, earmarked, not available for use. County ordinances require maintaining a fund balance equal to 6 months operating revenue. The current budget is $24,073,332. The required fund balance is $12,036,661. This leaves the $1,829,483 and unassigned, uncommitted funds available for use at the discretion of the Board of Commissioners.
Wait, how much? 1 point?
1,829,483.
Yes.
So you gotta look at 7 to see what the fund balance increase was. Then page 6 is your unassigned, is the money that you can use minus your 6 months operating. So I just want to make that public. That's how I came up with the paving numbers from last meeting, and for the public to view, if they want to see the audit report online, they know where the surplus money is coming from.
And these funds are part of the May 11th work session conversation.
Correct.
So thank you for putting this out so it'll be on public record, and everybody can understand.
Any more questions?
No, sir.
Report from ACCG Legislative Coordinator.
So now that the legislation is out of session, there's not much going on. I was just gonna name a couple of things that I know did pass, and then I brought a list with me of the big stack of bills that did not pass, in case anybody has a question on any. Some that we have talked about did not pass, but one that did was House Bill 1434, the airport affected area regulations. Felt like this was important in our county right now. This legislation requires local governments to adopt and enforce regulations by July 1 of 2027, limiting building heights and natural growth within designated airport affected areas, consistent with the federal FAA standards. The airport sponsors must identify the affected areas and notify the relevant local governments by January 1st. And then local governments that fail to comply will be suspended from the LMIG funding for up to 3 years. So we need to be communicating with the airport authority on the areas and make sure we're in with the FAA guidelines. The House Bill 983 clarifies exemptions for local burn notices for prescribed burning. This clarifies that prescribed burning for forest management purposes is exempt from local burn notices and ordinances. Such instances of forest management include burning for site preparation of land for timber cultivation, hazard fuel reduction, wildlife habitat improvement, longleaf pine ecosystem maintenance, etc. House Bill 1277 increases the project cost threshold for public roads or airports. This will be effective July 1st of this year. The legislation makes several changes to the state's current environmental review requirements, including increasing the project cost threshold for environmental evaluations for public road and airport projects from 100 million to 200 million, and connecting the threshold value to the cost of inflation. It decreases the value threshold for property being disposed by the Department of Natural Resources. It increases the value from 75,000 to 150,000, and authorizes the department to negotiate the sale of the property with an adjacent property owner for no less than 15% under the market value at the time of disposition. So that will delay implementation of new regulatory and taxation scheme for the commercial electric vehicle, the Department of Agriculture. There are soil erosion and sedimentation permit procedures, Senate Bill 447. This will be effective July 1st of this year. It amends the current authority of local issuing authorities for various permits. This requires local authorities to publish clear requirements for a completed application. Once completed and submitted, local authorities have 45 days to issue or deny the permit. If denied, the authorities must give a summary explanation with the reason. And the 45-day time frame will be told for state and federal inspection requirements. Yeah, that's good. Oh, the Keep Georgia Forested Act. Sorry. This bill creates a tax credit against state income tax for forestry manufacturing facilities defined as businesses that use Georgia source virgin timber to manufacture forest products, renewable fuels, bio-based chemicals, bioenergy, and other value-added products. It authorizes a $500 tax credit per eligible new full-time employee job created the first year when full-time employment is created, on or after January 1st of this year. The bill provides additional location-based terms and criteria for eligibility. It also creates a tax credit in case against state income tax for certain forestry managing facilities based on the acquisition of property.
Well done.
Thank you. Report from County Administrator.
Commissioners, first I'd like to say congratulations to Vice Chairman Commissioner Snelson for receiving her certified county commissioner certification.
Thank you so much.
We had Deputy County Administrator Jeff Fisher started on Monday, April 20th. I've been working with Mr. Fisher on policy and procedures in Meriwether County. We have interviews scheduled tomorrow afternoon for administrative assistant. Working on getting building assessments completed, should have the scope done and completed by the next meeting for the work session. Working on getting the vehicles on Gov Deals. We're having to take pictures, get information on the vehicle, operable, non-operable, condition, mileage, etc. Gathering the necessary information to request replacement titles. Met with Alan Parham and had a brief demo on new interest-bearing accounts proposal. Interviewed and hired a recreation director, Jamani Bronner. He will start Friday, May 1st. We had a department head meeting and discussed open enrollment for insurance and having lunch provided during open enrollment consisting of hot dogs, chips, and drinks for all employees on open enrollment dates. An email will be sent to everyone when dates are confirmed. We received one truck from the sheriff's office and 2 more expected to arrive in the next 2 weeks. I'll send that one off to be painted. And then the courthouse exterior renovations by billing is slightly over 50% completed. The scaffolding around the cupola will be starting to come down next week as repairs are nearly completed on the cupola. And then you'll notice the south and east elevations have scaffolding around it. So the whole courthouse now has scaffolding around the entire building as the work is being completed on the north and west side. They're now moving closer to the south and the east. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Report from County Commissioners. Commissioner Threadgill.
I don't have anything to add.
Commissioner Worsley.
I'd just like to congratulate Vice Chairman Snelson also on receiving the certification. It takes a lot of dedication to get that completed and done. It's nice to see all of us fully certified, so it's nice achievement. Thank everyone for the job they're doing, and hope everyone's looking forward to cotton picking fair, gay fair, whatever we call it, in the county this year, next coming weekend. So, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chairman Snelson.
I'd just like to thank everyone for participating in the Keep Meriwether Beautiful, and to keep in mind that the true meaning behind all this is keeping the county beautiful and like roadside cleanup, and I appreciate those who got out and did that. I want to note that this Saturday in Greenville, the Greenville Senior Center is hosting a car show, fun for the whole family. It's from 12 to 6 at the football field. They'll have a DJ and truck vendors and stuff like that. And I'd invite anybody to come out and walk around and enjoy the car show.
Mr. King.
Adam's already mentioned it, but right over there, close to my house, is the way they call it, a cotton fair now, instead of cotton picking fair, but that is this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Maybe the rain will hold off. It's showing pretty good rain on Saturday, but there's about 30-some thousand people that come through there. It's a great event. It brings a lot of attention to the county that weekend, and a lot of tax revenue to the county. So if you get a chance to go out there and check it out, if you've never been, it's worth going to. And thank the staff. I understand we got 2 more roads paved this week, Dallas Road and forgetting the other one. John, you remember what it is?
It's the
Anyhow,
Crawford
from last
Creek.
week, this week, did a beautiful job. So those are paid and going to continue right on to the next one. So we're still getting ahead here on some paving, in-house paving, and that's great that we got the staff and the workers of Public Works that can do that. And just thank all y'all for doing your stuff. Welcome, Jeff, again for being here. We appreciate it, and congratulations on your certificate.
Thank you. Congratulations on your awards. And I'd just like to thank the staff and all the employees for the work they do. And I'd like to thank the constituents for putting their trust in us to try to do what's best for the county. And that's all I have. Report from the attorney.
I have nothing to report, need for executive
Yes.
session for.
All of
All right, let's announce the future meetings. Monday, May the 11th, 2026, work session at 4 p.m. Monday, May the 11th, 2026, regular meeting at 6 p.m. Closed in observance of Memorial Day, Monday, May the 25th, 2026. Tuesday, May the 26th, regular meeting at 6 p.m. And I guess we have a need for executive session for litigation, personnel, real estate, tax matters, and cybersecurity.
I'll make a motion. We go to executive session for all the above.
Second.
All in favor?
Go back in regular session.
Second.
All in favor? We need a motion to transfer counsel to a new firm.
Well,
Transfer
chair
counsel
sign.
to a new firm.
I make a motion to
Allow
transfer.
Chair and
session
vice
counsel.
chair the same.
do we need to clarify that so they don't think we're talking about you?
I make a motion to allow the transfer of already special counsel to their new firm and allow the chair to sign.
Second.
Yeah, go ahead.
All in favor?
Is that all right,
He
Mike?
thought we was getting rid of it. He looked at me, moved council.
Commissioner, we need to approve.
What we need then?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve 4 weeks paternity leave for discussed employee in executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?